Okay, so we've done our basic changeable oscillator, frequency and amplitude. Now I'm going to show you a way to do a simple mouse theremin with mouse tracking. We did this already with a LED for MIDI, but we can just track our mouse anywhere on the screen without an LED if we use the mouse state object. So I'm going to add mouse state. Mouse state will send the horizontal X location and the vertical Y location if it's being asked. Let's hook up floating point X and Y. We can even label them. Clicking over some inlets. All right, so X and Y. So it's not showing me anything because I'm not asking. So how do I ask? Well, I need to send a bang message to mouse state. Bang tells an object to do that thing that you do. So I'm going to use a metro at 50 milliseconds. And if I turn the metro on, it will now track my mouse. So I have about 1080 wide, or 1920 wide, and about 1080 down. Remember, it goes from minimum X and Y in the upper left to maximum X and Y in the lower right. So I can scale those, hook up to a couple of scale objects, knowing my screen dimensions, and I'm going to use floating points for everything now. 1920. My max, that's going to go from, say, 30 hertz to 2000 hertz. Okay. So my X comes in. Let's pull this over here. Do another scale object. My Y space is from 0 to 1080 in floating point, and that's going to go from 1, 0 is the top, so that's 1, to 0 minimum when I get to 1080. And I can hook up floating points to each. And you can see that the decimal factor changes what it displays if I make it bigger, but it doesn't, you can see it round as I shrink it, but it doesn't change what's actually being sent, it just rounds what's displayed. So the output is still the same. So there's my X and Y scaled. And I can send these now to control frequency and amplitude. I've done a little simplification over here. I've used messages to line in both. I just have 50 milliseconds of ramp time. And I can use send and receives. So send mouse frequency. And receive mouse frequency. And so you see it over here. And I can send the amplitude. Send mouse amplitude. And over here, I can receive mouse amplitude. And there you see it as I move around over here. So if I turn this on, lower pitch, softer as I go down, louder as I go up. So I can only turn my audio on and off at a certain place, which is a little bit of a drawback. So maybe I'll add something to the patch to turn the Easy DAC on with my spacebar. So Let's have a key object. I'm going to look for 32, which is my spacebar. So the spacebar sends out as an ASCII code. That's going to go to a toggle. Toggle is going to reverse every time it's sent a bang, and that's going to come to my EasyDAC. In the first inlet, it's a control message. So now, all right, and you're getting a little bit of glissando as it goes, but that's okay. So controls the audio on and off. Now another way of controlling what I'm playing is to actually only track the mouse or when I'm holding the button down. And I can do that if I change things up a little bit. So I'll take this first outlet, and that's whether the mouse button is up or down. Okay, so in the simplest form, I can loop it around. But you can see that it's still playing, even though it stops tracking, because the amplitude has been sent out and is unchanged. So I really need, when I release it, to turn amplitude on and off. I need to send a scaling factor so that when I release the mouse, the amplitude gets zeroed out. So I can think of that as an extra multiplication. And when it's on, it could be 1 times whatever amplitude is the Y value was sending, and 0 times any Y value when it's off. So I need to change up a little bit here. I'm going to have to send some messages based on the toggle before it gets to the metro. And what I think I'll do is I'll do it up here just because it's easier to follow and it's easier for me to think about. So I'm going to trigger, and I'm going to trigger, need to send several things. Let's see what I want to do. If I think about this, I want to send the scaling factor from the toggle to amplitude, and then I want to send it on to control my metro. So first thing, so we're going to make some room down here and put in a control rate multiplication with an argument of 0. Then we're going to send the value of the toggle as my on-off value. And I'm going to receive that here. So that becomes the argument to multiply. And the second thing is going to be here, which is going to turn the metro on and off. So there, I didn't have the toggle going back to my trigger object. And this is enough, just with this, to control. So it's on. It's doing selections because I'm unlocked. If I lock the patch, okay. So what's going on when I press the mouse, turns on the toggle, that 1 shoots up here, is first sent as a value to multiply by the amplitude that comes next from moving the mouse. turn that off. So F for floating point. So you can see it now. See the 1 and the 0, 1 and the 0. Then the next argument, the next 1 or 0 is sent to the metro to turn the metro on and off. And what's happening is that I'm still, because it's 50 milliseconds, I'm still getting an amplitude sent out here, and it's coming in and it's being multiplied by whatever the argument is. All right, so a simple mouse theremin with control from the mouse button to only play when the mouse is pressed down. Audio processing is turned on and off with the space bar. And that's it. That's your mouse theremin. So I'm going to save this. Basic audio demo mouse theremin. And I'll add some comments in before I upload the patch. So there you go.